Hi guys, it is a frosty, might as well be winter night here in the end times. We have made it to, technically it is still Monday night, November 10th, 2014, but it's close enough to Tuesday morning, November 11th, 2014, when I'm going to be out busy raping and pillaging trout streams. Won't have time to do my rant, so it is close enough to Tuesday morning for me to bring you my weekly installment of my wacky conspiracy theory rant, where I go wading through all of the, well, that's not all unadulterated horseshit. Now, people, because I call this my wacky conspiracy theory Tuesday rant, some people just automatically assume that I disagree with these wacky conspiracy theorists. And so this week I had a big decision. I had three subjects to wade through. We had the lizard people from the constellation Draco, unadulterated horseshit, conspiracy theory, wacko shit. That was choice number one. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we had used car salesmen remotely disabling cars when people missed their car payment. That, there's nothing wacky or horseshit about that. Absolutely true. That these goddamn, every phase of these banksters, from used car salesmen right up to the IMF and everyone in between them, you better believe they will disable your car on the freeway. Anyway, that was my second choice. But my third choice, and the one I settled on, guys, I really don't know what to make of this one. I have mentioned this guy before. Oh yeah, I want to shout out my buddy Mel, my favorite conspiracy theorist friend of mine. Mel, she sent me this last week and suggested that I might want to cover this story this week. And Mel, you're exactly right. And this is going to be a rant about this fellow named Paul Hellyer, the former Canadian Defense Minister. Paul Hellyer, I've had rants on him before. I believe I had a rant about a year ago about his testimony, about his opinions of UFOs and, more importantly, space aliens. And I'm going to put the link, as I did before, and it's about a half hour. I highly suggest you go onto the link, and I think that it's embedded in this story, and that I'm also going to put the link on, about him talking about, and I don't believe he's lying. I do believe the man is telling the truth when he says he believes that there are several species of space aliens alive and well on this planet, and stirring up all kinds of trouble, that they are the ultimate little gray men behind the curtain. Or not the banksters, it's the little gray men behind the banksters. I don't know what to make of it, guys. As I say, Paul Hellyer is I honestly don't think he's a liar. So if he is telling us that there's several species of space aliens behind it all, I always say it's these goddamn evil banksters behind it all. And if he says the little gray guys but behind them are the real people pulling the strings on this planet, I don't know, if he's not a liar, then he's either a complete total whack job, and I don't think he is a complete total whack job, or I wouldn't have given him 2 minutes of my time and attention. He's not a total complete whack job, and I don't think that he's a liar in the sense that I believe that he believes what he is saying in the truth is the truth. I think it's more of a combination, even though he believes it is the truth what he is saying, he is confused. Maybe not a total whack job, but it's a combination of probably getting some unadulterated horseshit fed into his own brain. Who knows? Just because, and I want to talk about this for a moment because I believe my other favorite conspiracy wacko friend of mine is probably listening to this. I know is a fan of Paul Hellyer, and I am a fan of Paul Hellyer too. I just want to make this point. Just because this fellow was the defense, whatever he is, the head of the Defense Department, what was his official title? Defense Minister of Canada in the 1960s, that doesn't necessarily mean that his opinions or his understanding of reality is any more valid than anybody else's. Well, it's more valid than Alex Jones's for sure, and David Icke's. It's more valid than their opinions. But you know what I'm saying. I mean, my God, look at the Prime Minister of Canada today. The guy selling off all of those tar sands to China. The guy is a complete, total whack job, an out of control, delusional idiot. Same goes for that guy down in Australia, the Prime Minister of Australia. Let's don't forget our own esteemed Barack Obama. Just because somebody has a high-level government position, why do, if anything, it should make you suspicious of them. They should be suspect because of it. But I know what people are talking about, that this guy, Paul Hellyer, is called source credibility. So if he had enough, whatever you need to become the Defense Minister of Canada, then you can't be an absolute slobbering at the mouth fat ass moron, you know, like Alex Jones or David Icke, for instance. So anyway, the guy does have enough source credibility to make me pay him some attention. I listen to what the man says, and now that being said, where this article about the conundrum of the conspiracy conundrum of Paul Hellyer ended up was on this absolutely unadulterated horseshit conspiracy wacko website that I've mentioned before on these rants. This horseshit thing calling itself Veterans Today, a military and foreign affairs journal. And the head cook and bottle washer here, and this guy named Dr. Kevin Barrett. Okay, anything that I have said about source credibility, I don't know what kind of doctor this guy is. I don't even know. I'm assuming he's a veteran. I don't give a shit what kind of doctor he is. If he was a veteran, he obviously got pretty shook up. Dr. Kevin Barrett, editor of Veterans Today, is an unadulterated whack job with the source credibility of Judas Priest. I don't believe a goddamn word out of this paranoid lunatic asshole's mouth. And so this just deepens the conundrum of this guy, this whack job, this conspiratard of the most despicable order, spreading his unadulterated horseshit nonsense, polluting the internet with his crap. Anyway, what the hell? If he is cheering on Paul Hellyer, then I really have to question whether I have overestimated Paul Hellyer. But anyway, what he's talking about in his rant last week, and I'll put the link to it, which has some other links into it. This is his review of Paul Hellyer's newest book called The Money Mafia, A World in Crisis. There you go, The Money Mafia, A World in Crisis, where Paul Hellyer, and by default, this whack job, Kevin Barrett, try to somehow connect the dots between the New World Order, UFOs, and global warming. Global warming, now that's one that I did not expect to ever hear on this site. The last subject, I thought that I'm just assuming that Kevin Barrett and the majority of readers of this unadulterated horseshit are climate change deniers, such as the present Prime Minister of Canada and Australia are climate change deniers. But I am thrilled to see who is not a climate change denier, and that is none other than Paul Hellyer. Hallelujah. So what is so humorous, and the humor of this isn't even lost on the ironic humor of this is not even lost on someone with the pea-sized brain of Kevin Barrett. And that is this. When a book, this is probably the only time I will ever agree with Kevin Barrett. When somebody goes and writes a book trying to connect dots between the New World Order, UFOs, and global warming, the vast majority of readers, as even this Barrett guy points out, the vast majority of mainstream thinkers and readers, or the sheeple, or whatever word you want to use for them, would probably have the least problem of all with global warming being real, the New World Order being half and half, and UFOs, and particularly space aliens, behind the New World Order is unadulterated horseshit. That's the way most of us would look at it. But of course, as he says here, all right, I'm just going to read the only two points that I will probably ever agree with is Dr. Barrett. Mainstream readers will have no problem with Hellyer's suggestion that carbon-driven climate change is everything Al Gore thinks it is, but they may balk at accepting his claims about the New World Order and UFOs. most Veterans Today readers, and by proxy, most conspiracy wackos, on the other hand, will probably have the opposite reaction. There you go. As Hellyer says in his book, when he appears on alternative radio shows, and he's probably talking about that unadulterated horseshit called Coast to Coast AM. When he appears on places like that, audiences agree with him about the New World Order and ETs, but have a hard time swallowing global warming. There you go. Okay, Hellyer's response to them is that this, meaning global warming or climate change as I prefer, is one scare story that is actually true. So he does at least believe that that global warming and climate change are true, unlike probably the vast majority of readers and certainly the editor of Veterans Today. It's so many more of these conspiracy wackos are also global warming deniers. Okay, but so what is... Now this is where Hellyer... this is Hellyer's spin on global warming and climate change. Okay, and now this is according to this guy Barrett. I haven't read the book, so I am going to try to give this guy Barrett the benefit of the doubt that he is summarizing Hellyer's thesis from his book somewhat correctly and objectively, and I think that he might be. Okay, so assumingly in the book, Hellyer surmises that the New World Order banksters are running the planet into the ground. He surmises correctly, guys. Okay, I agree with Paul Hellyer and this guy Barrett. Make no mistake about it. The New World Order banksters are indeed running the planet into the ground. Perhaps, according to Hellyer, perhaps with the assistance of a few relatively nefarious alien species, but that the broad consensus of intergalactic law-respecting ETs are trying to warn humanity and help us wake up and save the planet. Okay, now as a fan of my old buddy who may or may not have been killed by the New World Order, John Mack, he talked a lot about this too, and I don't know how much you're aware of my own past history with ETs in my own life. I have had plenty of history with these little sons of bitches in my own life, and as John Mack pointed out, that consistently that so many of these people with histories, personal histories with ETs, sometimes incorrectly called alien abductees, what they do with their lives is try to warn the rest of humanity that we are destroying the planet. So there you go. According to John Mack's thesis of his book, I am one example, and maybe Paul Hellyer is another. I am dedicating my life to chronicling the collapse of a planet. whether I am an eco-Nazi because of ETs, my association with ETs, I don't know. Anyway, I need to go find my bullshit button for the next, and I'm not going to go off on a whole nother ET rant at this problem. Okay. The problem is that the law-abiding ETs are bound to a non-interference policy, while the criminal ETs have no such scruples and have forged a devil's pact with the New World Order, which controls... Oh, okay.
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
Okay. That point is bullshit, but the remainder of the sentence I'm okay with. The New World Order, which controls the UFO files and ruthlessly suppresses attempts at full disclosure. Now, I will agree with that sentence, that it's not the main order of business of the New World Order to suppress UFO disclosures, but it is certainly on their list of things that they do. Okay, what else does Hellyer talk about in his book? I'm going to try to get this book and do my own Sunday sermon at some point. Okay, Hellyer further argues that alternative free energy technologies exist but have been suppressed by the New World Order cartel. Again, guys, after studying this issue for about 6 years now, I am still on the fence about all of this free energy stuff. Okay? I used to believe 100% about all of these free energy sources, and now I'm about 50-50. So while I'm not going to agree wholeheartedly with Hellyer on that, I sure as hell 100% agree that any threat to the fossil fuel industry is going to be completely fought by the fossil fuel industry. Is the number one player in the New World Order, which I call the global corporatocracy. So whether or not it goes as far as, quote, free energy, if it doesn't involve either fossil fuels or some other energy form that they can make money off of, and whether it be nuclear energy, hydroelectric power, biofuels, they don't care. It's the same group of evil bastards making a buck off of it. And they're going to fight tooth and nail, and anybody, if there is indeed one of these free energy devices ever invented, you better goddamn well believe that that the New World Order will certainly kill you if you try to if they consider you a threat to their bank accounts and to their little power crowns, as Mary Gaucher calls them. They will kill you. Call me a wacky conspiracy theorist. The historical record is littered with corpses taken out by the New World Order's fossil fuel contingency. Make no mistake about that, guys. There's not a goddamn thing wacky about that statement. Okay, now this part of it, where, assuming this summation is correct, where Hellyer says that the New World Order cartel apparently wants to wreck Earth's environment by various means, including needlessly pumping vast amounts of carbon into the atmosphere. And they have decided to mine all of the sequestered underground carbon and risk turning Earth into a wasteland. Now, I can't remember that interview where, who was it who was saying that they don't actually think that these planet eaters get up every morning and start thinking, how am I going to wreck a planet? It's not that these planet eaters necessarily want to destroy the planet. That is just a byproduct of what they do. They are planet eaters. So an eaten planet is a byproduct of a planet eater. You know, do they want to destroy Earth? I don't know. I will say they certainly, money and the global economy, the global corporate economy is a hell of a lot more important to them. Making a dollar is a hell of a lot more important to them than the destruction of a planet. And I just don't, whether they want to or not, they certainly don't give a shit whether they are destroying the planet. Anyway, I need to check the time on this rant. I could go on forever, and I've only got a few minutes. Anyway, guys, I'm going to put the link on here. They talk about Hellyer discovering that 9/11 was an inside job. Of course, you can't have an article in Veterans Today without mentioning 9/11 was an inside job. And just in case anybody out there is still believing that 9/11 was not an inside job.
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
Okay, so you can chalk me up as agreeing with Paul Hellyer and Kevin Barrett and anybody else with a brain, including 2,000 architects and structural engineers, that 9/11 was indeed an inside job. And anyway, guys, the whole bottom half of this article is just, I don't know, it is so sad that it's hilarious. Despite his grim assessment of our predicament, Hellyer is optimistic enough to finish his book with an action plan for the redemption of America and humankind. An action plan for the redemption of America and humankind, which is absolutely hilarious. This is, okay. I'm just going to give you the top four above the fold. Top four. How about number one in the action plan to redeem America and humankind? Require everyone on the federal government payroll, including members of the armed forces and intelligence agencies, blah, 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 to swear a supplementary oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States. Right. That's gonna happen. Number two, the president, meaning Barack Obama. Barack Obama, who I call perhaps the single biggest cheerleader on the planet of fossil fuels, completely totally in the pocket, more than any other global leader on the planet, of the energy companies, including the energy company keeping me warm for this rant. Barack Obama should issue an executive order, well, he's good about doing those, for the immediate release of all patents concerning clean alternative energy, including and especially cold fusion and 0-point energy. Good luck on getting Barack Obama to do that. Let's see. How about this one for dreaming? The Congress should create a law that would make it a criminal offense for any bank or financial institution, its directors and officers, to make a financial donation to any person holding political office. And one more, the Congress must initiate the inquiry into the extraterrestrial presence and technology. And this goes on, guys. This is going to happen. Well, I don't care who this Paul Hellyer guy is. The chances of his action plan for the redemption of America and humankind, if this is his list of demands, they will be met. I guarantee you, the lizard people will have taken over this planet. And what else will happen? The Koch brothers will, let's see, what will the Koch brothers do before this is I can't even think of one. Anyway, to put it mildly, what I'm trying to say here is hell will freeze over long before his action plan. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap up this rant with, I still give Paul Hellyer 2 thumbs up, and I urge you to go on to these links and read this article and listen to what the man says. Block out 30 minutes of your time to listen to what Paul Hellyer has to say about the UFOs and ETs, and you decide for yourself, is Paul Hellyer and, I guess, Hambone Littletail a conspiracy wacko or not? And that's all I have to say about it. Bye, guys.